Lock us in, load us in, pop in that 8-track, spin the tape. Here we go.
Hey now everyone, welcome back to our last Star Wars Celebration 2019 live cast. That's right, it's Matt and Nick, and I'm dragging a little bit of ass because I got a little crazy last night at some bar where there was naked people. I don't know what was going on. All I know is I started my night with a drink called the Hop Bomb, and those hops definitely soused my brain. So I may not have as much pep in my voice as usually. I'm trying. It's a bit of a struggle. Let's just say my day started with some vomit, maybe some pooping, and then it got better from there, Nick, because we got to attend live in person the Mandalorian panel of Star Wars Celebration 2019.
It was beautiful.
Which was well worth dragging my dead ass out of bed for after, 4 or 5 hours of drunk sleep.
In a blizzard, too. I mean, we're in Chicago now. If you're here at Celebration, you know that the weather has taken a turn for the cold and blurry here on Sunday.
It's not looking good. I mean, it's been kind of chilly the whole week, but at least the sun's been out. So, you're just getting hit with the old windy city stuff. But now it's just pure shit outside. I mean, It's wet, snowy, slushy, slippy. But that did not prevent us from attending the Mandalorian panel at the Wintrust Arena. We were there in person, like I said, and dude, what a panel. I mean, it was an interesting panel. If those of you who are listening, if you watch the live stream, you kind of got to see how it flowed. You didn't get to see some of the special stuff we did, but I'm sure it's leaked out there by now anyways. I mean, I may or may not have recorded video, but I'm not going to do anything with it because my luck, I'd be the one that gets sued, arrested, and sent to jail.
Favreau would come after you directly.
Right. But it was a good panel because, like I said, it was different in terms. It didn't really have an MC. I mean, it's literally Kathleen just wheeled out John and Dave Filoni, and they just kind of went at it. It was very casual, and then they eventually brought out the main cast, which was awesome. We got some clarity on our cast members, Nick, which was big, but just overall general feel the Mandalorian. What were you thinking?
I think after seeing the clips, after seeing the special edition little thing we got to see at the end of the panel, this show is going to be exactly what we wanted it to be.
Yeah,
we talked about it a lot after the announcement leading up, something gritty, something that's more mature. And from what we can see, it's definitely going to be that. I mean, it's definitely in the vein of old westerns. When Pedro Pascal was asked, who he used as inspiration or who like his character is molded after, he just said he's got a lot of Clint Eastwood in him. And, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see Star Wars traveling in that direction, away from, like, the religious aspects of the Jedi and the Sith and, the intergalactic battle, now moving more towards the small scale. You have the underground. You have the Bounty Hunters Guild, which was officially announced. The Bounty Hunters Guild is run by Carl Weathers' character. His name is Grief Marga.
Karga, I guess.
Karga.
Grief Karga.
We misheard that.
I like the name. I like the name, Grief Karga. So, yeah, like Nick said, we did get to meet the main cast. So, to round it out, obviously, Pedro playing still just called the Mandalorian. Gina Carano, I was way off on who she was going to be. At one point in time, we heard rumors that he was going to be given a bounty, which we got to see a scene play out, by the way, people. That was awesome. It wasn't just a trailer. We got to see a scene, and kind of the scene, I believe, will be episode 1 footage, sending him on his main mission. But anyways, we thought that possibly Carano's character, Nick, was going to be the baby that he doesn't kill for the bounty, and that they kind of would fast forward years later and they're fighting hand in hand, kind of as like a sidekick. And I still think she may end up tagging along with him. I have a feeling this bounty's going to go bad.
Yeah.
And they're kind of going to get paired together. But you can tell, I don't think she's a full-on bounty hunter, because the scene we saw, he's like, hey, what's she
Yeah, what is she doing?
Who's she?
here?
What's she doing here? You know, basically implying she's not a bounty hunter, but she's Cara Dune, who is an ex-rebel shock trooper, which is interesting in and of itself. And then, like we said, Carl Weathers, he's the other main. He's playing Grief, who's kind of this head of this bounty hunter guild. He's a guy that the Mandalorian would go to for a puck, I think is what they were calling them. The pucks, essentially the bounties that allow the bounty hunters to track down the bounties and obviously take them out and get the cash. So again, like the panel was just super low key. Favreau and Filoni were just kind of interviewing each other, and then they brought out the cast, and they really couldn't say much.
Yeah.
So I guess what Nick and I, what we're going to focus on, that we were shown a series of 3 videos. The first one was just pure behind the scenes. We would call it a featurette, and I guarantee it's probably going to release tonight or by the end of Celebration. I'm not sure why it's not out yet, to be honest with you. So we saw that. Then they talked more. Then we saw, like I said, I think Nick and I, we decided it was anywhere between a 5 to 7 minute clip. I mean, a full-on scene played out, probably from the first episode. And then we got the kind of the teaser sizzle at the end, which I'm still surprised has not been released in full. But whatever, we saw it, so we're going to go ahead and explain what we saw. So Nick, go ahead and dive into that little behind-the-scenes clip we got.
The behind-the-scenes was really cool because Favreau introduced it as basically, you know, how we're doing the visual effects on this show, and people now know that Star Wars is heavily a mix of the CG animated stuff, and then also you have practical effects. And this particular behind-the-scenes footage took us to a location at Skywalker Ranch where they're building an actual model, or at ILM where they're building an actual model of the Raven's Crest,
Is it
which
Raven or Razor Crest?
It might have been Razor Crest.
Yeah, we got some of the name, but the Razor Crest is going to be Mandalorian's ship, and it looked kind of cool. I mean, it is a mix of designs we've seen in the prequel and newer trilogies, but yeah, we're thinking Razor Crest.
Yeah, Razor Crest. So we get to see this miniature being built out. John goes into a lot of detail about how the ILM team jumped at the ability.
It was a lot of guys from the original Star Wars, essentially. He said that it became a Star Wars builders club in these meetings because they were like, oh, the Mandalorian might be using some practical stuff.
Yeah.
Favreau said something about miniatures, and so these people just started crafting stuff at their houses and bringing it in, and it eventually got used in the sizzle teaser. We got to see the footage of the ship being animated, and it really was just a stationary miniature. So that we got that, but we also got, Nick, it was more of a, this is the Mandalorian. Here's the cast. You know, there was interviews with Pedro.
Yep.
I think Gina was in there. Carl maybe. And you got kind of some B-roll looks of the sets and the practical stuff being used on the set in the world that was built. Again, this was all shot in L.A., but it feels like it's set in that galaxy from far, far away. So, I mean, the featurette was, I don't think it revealed anything.
Yeah, nothing that we
major.
really.
I mean, obviously these things are highly curated. They're not going to release anything that's going to be reveal a major spoiler-laden type of secret. So, but it was more just kind of, hey, this is who we are. This is our series. This is our crew. This is how we work. This was our philosophy going into it. And really, Nick, they said all the right things. I mean, from the look of the world to the tone of the narratives we're probably going to get. This is, I'm not going to say, big boy Star Wars, but it is kind of Game of Thrones-ish type of Star Wars.
Yeah.
In terms of the tone of this series.
Yeah, and then, if we skip ahead a little bit just to give context, the sizzle reel that we got was not light on violence, is, what I would say. There's people that are getting their, getting shot, getting electrocuted, fight, burning down buildings, dead body. It had a very similar feel to me to Rogue One.
How about that shot? We've never seen this before, but there's a shot where I don't know if it's the Mando, and I love that they call him the Mando, because that's what we've been calling him forever.
Call him Mando.
It really makes no sense because it's Mandalorian, like it's an A.
Yeah.
Actually, when we first started the site, the tag I created for the Mandalorian was spelled the Mandalorian. But anyways, I'm not really sure where I was going there before I cut myself off. So,
but I mean, basically, from what we can see and what we saw.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was a shot from the teaser, Nick, where you get to see for the first time a trooper getting his helmet mashed in, and it literally breaks the front of the helmet gets smashed by, I guess, like the butt of the Mando's gun or something.
Yeah, so that just goes to show that this series is pulling no punches. Like, they're gonna give you violence pretty much like we've only seen within Rogue One in the Star Wars universe. Like, if you remember that war scene or that battle that kind of took place on Jeddah with, you know, the Imperial tank coming in, and there's like this big huge skirmish, that has that feeling. You know, the Mandalorian has the feeling of that scene from Rogue One. And then also, it's just the way that Pedro Pascal plays this character from in the scenes that we were able to watch. I mean, it's a perfect tone. Like, he's not some kind of overstated Jango Fett type of character where he's got his chest out and he's running. He is, he's understated, but everybody knows that he's the best. Like, he's a badass, and he
does like that. I'm glad you brought that up, because just his physical performance it did remind me of Boba Fett in the original trilogy. Just kind of, you could tell he's one of the baddest men in the room, but he's very low key about it. He's almost unassuming, even though he's very assuming because he's in that armor, which is obviously iconic. But yeah, Nick's right. He's not, hey, I'm the Mandalorian. I'm the best bounty hunter in the motherfucking galaxy. No, he's very reserved. You can tell he takes his profession very seriously and doesn't fuck around. But you can also tell that he is highly respected within the bounty hunting, whatever you want to call it, community. I mean, you can tell he's kind of in with this Grief guy that's played by Carl Weathers, who's going to be dealing out bounties and this, that, and the other thing. That's kind of his position in the galaxy at this point in time. But I did dig how Pedro was bringing him to life. Even the voice, I mean, that wasn't over-modulated. I mean, it sounded like dude wearing a helmet and talking. I mean, again, very, very Boba Fett-like, just without Tamir Morrison's
voice
dialogue going on, or dialect. So I liked what we saw in that behind the scenes featurette thing, and I do hope they release it, because you get to see how much fun the cast was having, all the practical work they were doing in terms of stunts, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, apparently Gina and Carl just did all their own stunts. Like, John said that at one point, he's making this series at the same time as he's making The Lion King, so he would leave set, go do some Lion King visual effects stuff, come back, and they have Gina falling from a building, and Carl's got a squib, which is one of the fake bullets, attached to him, taking a shot and falling backwards onto mattresses and stuff like that, and he's freaking out. He said that these are our stars. You can't be doing this stuff with our stars. Where are the stunt doubles? But I mean, Gina, if anybody knows who Gina Carano is, former MMA fighter, MMA world champion, female world champion. And then also, I mean, when she got into the acting game, she
was in the first Deadpool.
Yep, Deadpool
as
one
of the
Angel.
bad guys. Yeah, so
so she's been around the block, and she's definitely not afraid to take some bumps and bruises for the.
I'm almost most excited to just see her character brought to life, because I mean we got to see a shot of her. I mean they revealed some concept art and her in costume, and she really is the perfect actress for this role. I mean, because she is a well-built woman. I mean, she could fuck shit up, and that's pretty much who she's playing, it looks like. It looks, like I said, like we're predicting here, I believe her and the Mandalorian will maybe team up, not on purpose, but maybe through circumstance, because it also looks like they're going to get into a little bit of a competition, tussle type of fight. They seem to be equally matched. They both draw at the same time. We saw that in the teaser. So it's looking good. A lot of good stuff here. I mean, one of the interesting stories to me, Nick, is how they talked about they used members of the 501st Legion to actually shoot scenes. I mean, I guess they had a big need for a stormtrooper presence in one of the episodes, and instead of buying and building more costumes, they just put out a call to the 501st. They came out in full force, as to be expected. And they found out that they were going to be in The Mandalorian. I mean, how awesome would that be?
Yeah, and like John said, surprising that hasn't leaked. Like, we didn't know about this at all until we walked into the panel and they revealed that. But, there was a big shot. We were looking at the big screen behind the the people on the stage, and the shot of the 501st there with all the main crew was fantastic. I mean, from all accounts, from Gina, from Carl, from John and Dave, like these guys and girls were professional. Like they came to work. They came with, I mean, Dave even said that their costumes were better than some of the props that they used.
And they were showing people how stormtroopers would actually act, how they would march, how they would behave in an attack situation, this, that, and the other thing. So
how to hold the gun, everything.
That was just, I mean, that's awesome fandom right there. I mean, that again, we're talking fan service. That may be the theme of Star Wars Celebration 2019, at least from the big stuff we've seen. I mean, Fallen Order looks like we're getting some fan service thrown our way. Obviously, Episode 9 and what we saw with Rise of Skywalker, I believe there's some fan service baked into that too. And we're getting it here. And John did point out, Nick, that brand new fans could come into The Mandalorian, but also fans that have been fans for 40 plus years or multiple decades would also get tons out of it because of all the Easter eggs and the richness they've kind of baked into this universe of The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, even within the teaser that we saw, there was some good Easter eggs thrown in there. We had a gonk droid at one point kind of walking.
He got multiple gonks in too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's really... So let's just go right into it, Nick. So Nick's talking about a clip. We got to see, again, 5 to 7 minute long clip. I believe it's from episode 1 of the series, which, by the way, is debuting November 12th, which is the premiere date or the launch date of Disney Plus. As to be expected, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not launching Disney Plus without your first Star Wars live action. I mean, you need that. I still think Disney Plus is going to probably have how many millions of subs?
Day one.
Yeah, the first weekend, they're probably going to have, 10 million easy, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Is that too low? I mean, remember Disney Plus, not only going to have all this custom curated content, you're also going to have every fucking Disney movie out there.
Yeah, ever.
There is no more vault, my friends. The vault is gone. Movies no longer go in the vault and only come out at certain times. They're all going to be there. The Snow Whites, the Cinderellas, all the way up through, the Moanas and the newer stuff. But back to the clip, dude. So believe it's coming in episode 1 for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of sets up if you want to call it the MacGuffin, what's going to get the Mandalorian probably into the meat of the series. And he, goes to Greef.
Yep.
Greef's, it seems the tone we're getting here, Nick, is that everyone's kind of going through a tough time now that the Empire is gone. It's been 5 years. The Revolution 1 is what they're calling it. But a lot of people have pointed out, just because the Empire was vanquished, it doesn't mean life's any better. And in some cases, it's probably worse for people. So that's kind of the tone they're setting there. Even bounty hunters are struggling to get good bounties. I mean, that's the Mandalorian's like, dude, 5,000 credits, that's not even worth the fuel cost for me to go get this bounty.
Yeah. So it's a lot to do with just a lack of governmental structure. I mean, we hear it from an Imperial character that we get introduced to. So like Matt was saying, the Mandalorian is talking to Greef, give me something, there's nothing worth his time, and then Greef has another bounty.
Little secret deal that he pulls kind of out of his back pocket.
There's
one of those...
Yeah, no puck for this.
Right.
That's what they call them.
Off the book type of deals here.
Yeah, so Mando follows up on that. He's not giving an exact price, but he follows up on the lead and ends up in a room with what looks like some sort of former Imperial.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? He clearly has some pull. I mean, he looked like a Dryden Voss type of guy. I mean, some sort of gangster maybe. But like Nick said, I do believe we're going to run into remnants of the Empire that are still clinging on to pockets of power because, we had these regional governors and they had their underlings on planets to keep order. And so I believe with this guy, that's kind of who he may be, or he's just some rich gangster type that hires former stormtroopers to be his bounty hunters. Because that's what we saw. This guy had stormtroopers, and I loved how beat up and weathered their armor looked. I mean, you could tell... These troopers, these weren't the ones that can't hit the broadside of a barn door either. I mean, you could tell these guys, they've made it this long. Like, they're probably some of the best of the best of the TK units from the Empire's forces. So as Nick said, he gets that contract from Greef. Greef goes to get Mando goes to get the details from this. We're saying either some former Imperial or some dude that is just, he's got some power. in this universe, whatever planet they were on. He's definitely got some pull. And then he reveals to the Mando the price. It's going to be a lot, but also what it is. And we meet this kind of scientist-like doctor character, and he's coming out, and you can tell that this guy's a little shifty. He's a little on edge about this contract, and he's just like, hey, let's try to keep the bounty alive. And you can tell he's very concerned with the bounty, which we believe is going to be this, probably the baby we've heard.
Yeah, it's a rumor that's been out for a while. So, like Matt said, the doctor says keep it alive, but then the shady character, the Imperial or something like that, was, he says, I know how this goes. I know this line of work. We could do alive or dead. Right.
He basically said if you have to kill the target, your fee's going to go down, but I get it. If it gets too out of control, you got to do what you got to do. In the end, the most important thing is that
we need this
person, which we're guessing is the bounty, probably a young baby. Maybe we were even speculating, do they have Jedi powers? Why do they want this baby? Why is it so special? Why does this doctor seem like he wants it alive? Is there experimentations going on? Who knows? But you definitely tell these guys were shifty. The bounty hunter, even the Mando, I felt like he was
asking a lot of questions.
Right, like what's going on here? How shady of a job is this?
Yeah, so he essentially asks for a puck. Again, apparently a puck is some sort of tracking device, some sort of way to find this.
He was trying to get as many details as possible so he could hunt his bounty.
Yeah, so they don't give him a puck. They give him something else, another tracking device, and then they give him a little bit of information. And basically the Imperial or this powerful guy tells him, if you can't find this guy or this person with the information that you've been given here, then you're not as good as they say you are.
Right.
So, and then that's kind of the end. That
right. Then it kicked right into the teaser trailer that hopefully comes out today or maybe tomorrow. But I'm glad we got that clip because you can't really get tone from trailers. They're just kind of fast cuts, like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
This really allowed us to get a full understanding of what the Mandalorian is going to look like, feel like, sound like, be like. And I'm super excited, dude.
Yeah.
Super excited. It's still a few months away here, but just like The Rise of Skywalker, it's now out there. The world has been set. We can speculate our asses off at this point. So.
Yeah, the characters are introduced, and now, once this type of information comes out at Celebration or any other types of events, they just build on it. So more will be coming out, maybe not immediately, but you can expect in the months to come that we get more information, more character reveals, more planetary names. Because like John said, with this type of series, they can introduce new planets, new people, new concepts, new weaponry, new species. And they're going to take full advantage of that. We haven't had any kind of confirmation that this is going to be more than a one season, show. But based off what we're seeing here, I feel like, if this hits the way that Disney expects it to, then we can have
you would
multiple
think
seasons.
that in their back pocket they've got things possibly lined up for season 2, just like they did with Resistance. Resistance is even more different than this because that was still being put out on Air TV. Anyone could watch it. If you have cable or whatever, you could watch it. So you had to probably have some sort of expectations in terms of audience to greenlight a second season of Resistance. Here, it's going to be on their own streaming service. This season of The Mandalorian would probably pay for the next season itself.
Yeah.
I think it probably just comes down to commitments and can they get everyone back? And if it is a success, is everyone going to want more money?
Yeah.
Other guarantees, this, that, and the other.
Depending on what else, what other flagship releases come out with Disney Plus, The Mandalorian will be looked at. The success of The Mandalorian will be looked at within those subscriber numbers. So, we know we already have some Marvel television shows being talked about. You have a Loki show, and I believe you have I don't remember the other one, Hawkeye maybe?
Winter Soldier and Hawkeye, like a team-up buddy cop type of show.
Yeah. So, if those two shows are also, dropped at the same time as Mando, then you might be able to spread out the subscriber numbers and, the reasons for people to come to the platform a little bit more. But if Mando is your number one, then, if we jump up to 1 million subs very fast, that's going to look good.
There's got to be some sort of internal measures they're looking at to go, hey, yeah, let's do this again. Let's give Favreau another 100 million and see what he does with a 10-episode run.
Yeah, for sure.
And he truly is kind of the showrunner.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he wrote at least half of the episodes, half of the season, but he's not really doing any of the directing. I mean, that's going to be split up between Filoni, Taika, Bryce Dallas Howard, Rick Famuyiwa, Deborah Chow. So
what I thought was really interesting is, like, we knew that Dave Filoni was involved with the show, but we didn't really have an idea to the level. I mean,
he's full on. I mean, Favreau called him his Star Wars Sherpa.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's what he called him. So it's as expected, people. Dave Filoni is the new George Lucas.
Yeah, he's the future
George
of Star Wars.
Clearly groomed this guy. John was telling a great story of how he could almost realize how proud George was of Dave's rise, and now he's directing live action Star Wars. So, I mean, Filoni is critical to this series without a doubt. I mean, he's kind of helped with the lore at least.
Yeah,
and that's kind of who Favreau was running these ideas off of to even get the thing greenlit. So. The panel was good. I mean, a lot of insights into how this went down and why it ended up in being what it is.
Yeah.
Some other standouts from the teaser, real quick, Nick, before we close. We got a shot of what is probably IG-88 getting action oriented. It was awesome. I mean, he literally
blasting.
He just like pivots off his head and spinning. He's blasting, not even aiming. That was pretty neat. It didn't. I know it's not Forlom, but there was almost some Forlom style droid bots in there we saw. But the trailer was really just kind of quick beat, action, stunning with his pronged gun. I mean, you saw some good stuff. Like I said, punching the stormtrooper's helmet and smashing. That was pretty cool looking.
Yeah, and then the fight between Cara and the Mando. So
that's coming.
It all looked fantastic. It all looked exactly like what we talked about, what we wanted from this show. We wanted a more mature feel. We wanted something that adults can watch, and maybe kids can wait a little bit for it. It seems like that's what we're getting with the show. And then your guy, I mean, we even saw in the teaser trailer your buddy Gus from Breaking Bad.
Giancarlo Esposito clearly is playing one of the main antagonists, I would think. I mean, it looks like he's going to be tasked with probably hunting the bounty hunter, the Mandalorian, after the Mandalorian, I'm assuming, reneges on the contract that he's given in the clip we saw. But he's leading. I mean, he's got his own TIE fighter he's piloting. He's leading it's almost like a platoon or at least a squad of death troopers, regular troopers. He had shock troopers. I mean, the red painted helmet deals, but obviously original trilogy stormtroopers, not the clones. So this dude definitely, him and the other shady, nefarious guy we were talking about, I'm guessing they're going to be in leagues, and as we have speculated, that they're potentially going to be probably remnants or tied to the Empire.
Yeah, I believe so. And I mean, just again, like the inclusion of that character that's leading that band of Imperial Remnant, and that's something that Favreau mentioned too, is they're going to find ways to include relics of the Empire.
Right.
Use the Imperial Remnant in ways that people aren't really expecting now that we're 5 years out from Return of the Jedi with still no, galactic-wide governance. This is before the rise of the New Republic, and this is after the death of the Empire. So it's a very open period of time to where there is no rule. And that is why characters like the Mandalorian and the bounty hunters can thrive in a way within this society. Yeah. A society with no rules has no limits on what can be done for money. So
the chaos here and the lack of order, this is all what was pulling at Han Solo to come back and be a smuggler scoundrel, and why he left his wife and his kid.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. It was that action that people like the Mandalorian were getting that was probably drawing at Han to get back into the game, and then we saw what happened there. He had severe issues with his son. His son had daddy issues, and he killed him, and all that fun stuff. But Mandalorian, definitely a success. Loved the panel. It was great tone, great setting. highly, highly, highly excited. Not that we weren't before, but now we have some stuff to sink our teeth into, and that is all that matters for people like Nick and I. So we will be waiting with bated breath for November 12th, when it's going to premiere. I think this is the first time I will truly binge something. I know binge watching kind of started with Netflix and its series, and they just dropped the whole seasons there. I've never just binged. This will probably be a 10 to 12 hour long weekend I'm going to spend just chewing through these and probably reviewing them, recapping them, doing all the Easter egg stuff. The kind of our resistance dance. You can expect the same type of coverage for The Mandalorian once
Absolutely.
it starts this fall. All right, Nick. Well, that is our last cast live from Star Wars Celebration 2019. Sorry again about the quality. I didn't think it was that bad. Definitely a little tinny, but we got through it. I nearly took myself out today with the shenanigans last night, but even that was a good time, and nobody got hurt in the end. Just my head hurts a little bit and my throat from doing the old but we did it, sucked it up, got over there, checked out the panel, once again got in with QR codes that probably shouldn't have got us in, but that was Star Wars Celebration 2019 in Chicago. There was no need of badges. But whatever. It was still fantastic to attend. It was great seeing Nick again in person, as well as our intern Ryan. Good times all around. All right, people, we'll be doing a kind of putting the celebration to bed cast upcoming this week on Tuesday, probably, so it'll be out on Wednesday. We appreciate you listening to our celebration coverage. Hopefully you got some insights out of it. If not, tough shit. You get what you get here, right? Free of charge. All right. May the Force be with you, always.